welcome to another episode of Geek Shop. This is our Christmas special. Merry Christmas, everyone. We have Chris and we have Derek. Guys, say hi.
Hi.
Oh,
Hi.
ho, 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 ho. You have to say
Ho, ho, ho.
So, holiday special. What are we talking about?
Christmas comic books.
Comic books, yes.
I guess it doesn't have to be Christmas necessarily. If anybody can think of a good Hanukkah comic book too, that would be I'd be okay with that. Or a Kwanzaa comic book. Maybe Black Panther might have a Kwanzaa comic book.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
That would be appropriate.
Or Festivus comic book.
That would be awesome. TikTok Tom, the Festivus issue.
I think we need to do a Festivus comic now.
What is that? The airing of grievances of comics that came out this year?
Yes. Yeah. And the creators we hate or we need to complain about.
Exactly. We put all our comic books on a poll.
Yes. See, we brought up a new idea. We should try that now.
There we go. I mean, so let's go around and let's sort of talk about sort of holiday comic books, Christmas comic books that you remember, that maybe you like. Either one of you can start.
Okay, I'll start.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, I'll start. The main one I remember is, and Chris and I have talked about this so many times, Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special.
Yeah.
I mean, who could forget that comic?
That was one of the comics that actually got me into comic book collecting seriously. So
I mean, you had a fun story. Alan Grant, I think, wrote that. He's famous for his Judge Dredd stuff, and of course, Simon Bisley drew it.
Yeah, that was one of Simon Beasley's best comic books as far as drawing.
Oh, it was amazing artwork in it.
Yeah, it was stunning. And it was like a weird story. Like, a lot of people think it was just him attacking Santa Claus, but Santa Claus had a hit because the Easter Bunny thought that Santa was taking too much credit. And so the Easter Bunny hired Lobo to kill Santa.
And a good part, if you say it as a good part, was they didn't hold back on the violence.
Oh no, far from it.
Derek, did you read that book or did you look at it?
No, I didn't. My comic book Christmas stuff is actually very minimal. A lot of my Christmas comic media stuff comes a little more the animated side. Always seem to catch.
I think that's what we're going to get into.
Animated.
Chris. Yeah,
the animated Christmas ones. Like, I think I'm looking through my collection. I've got the odd one that sticks out as an early Todd McFarlane Spider-Man, where Spider-Man gets kicked out of his apartment around the holidays. But I think that ends up with him moving back in with Aunt May for the 50th time. But early Todd McFarlane,
yes,
early Todd McFarlane Spider-Man art. So
yeah. Now, with the Lobo one, Chris, did you ever see the YouTube video someone did? Well, not YouTube. At that time, that was 10, 15 years ago? The paramilitary special? It was well done.
Yeah. I think a lot of people consider that one of the sort of key things, because Lobo became a very popular character for a while.
Yes.
Maybe not as popular now as was he, like during the sort of ultra-violent comic book sort of image days. Lobo was one of the characters in DC that actually sort of held up during that. And I think the Christmas special was probably the key issue that sort of flipped him over.
Yes.
Because I think that might have been Beasley's first full Lobo comic book. And then later on, he went on to
he did the miniseries, didn't he?
Did he do the miniseries first?
He did the miniseries first. No, first the miniseries.
Was it?
Then, then the Christmas special came out.
And then afterwards, he did some more, because he also did there was another miniseries he did afterwards and a few other things too.
Yes, he did.
So I definitely feel like the Christmas special for him was like the switching of that character to like a mainstream character.
Yeah. Now, another Christmas book I remember is DC used to do Christmas specials every year. And I bought a few of them. Now, one of the key ones, I'll put an image up, and Chris has seen that image, was John Byrne cover Christmas special. And I remember,
Yeah.
the reason I remember that one is John Byrne did an Enemy Ace story in that, a Christmas
Wow.
story. And it was,
Enemy Ace.
it just, yeah. And it was just like, it was very well done. And I just like the art. I mean, I'm still a John Byrne fan. So, I bought that just for that.
Yeah. That's I mean, I definitely, I remember that. The ones I remember are DC, particularly during the Batman, the animated series thing. I believe there's a few comics that they did sort of associated with that. And there was one Mr. Freeze story that actually became quite popular. I think that was a Christmas special. I don't think it was necessarily Christmas oriented, but it sort of ended on Christmas. It's almost like, people say that Die Hard isn't really a Christmas movie, but it sort of, it just happens to take place on Christmas,
Yes.
Depending on your argument. But so there's a few Batman stories that sort of use Christmas, because in Batman, there's this sort of great sort of counter thing where Batman's very dark and sort of menacing, but if you add snow to it, it suddenly sort of becomes light. And so it's a great way to end or have part of add sort of texture to a Batman story. And they did it during the animated thing. And I'm trying to remember if the second Batman movie, if that took place at Christmas, the one with the Penguin.
Batman. Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. I remember. Yeah, it was, because I remember snow and stuff in the movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like there is this sort of counterbalance you can have with a Batman comic by just adding some snow and some sort of festiveness, because Gotham's this dark city that's kind of always seems wet, but never sort of nice. But if you add sort of Christmas decorations and a layer of snow, it sort of changes.
And having
Gotham
some white in the black background helps a lot.
Exactly. So I think that's a common story thing. I imagine there's probably more Batman stories out there that are Christmassy, just because I can imagine that balance is there. And, also having Batman sort of in Christmas is sort of it's like Gotham and snow.
And that's
so
one of the
things.
What about you, Derek? Springboarding off what Chris was saying for Batman, I would watch the animated series more than I read the comics, and they had some a few like stick out episodes. I think the second one, like as far as the second episode ever, was actually Christmas with the Joker.
Yeah.
And all Robin wanted to do that night was get Batman to watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, really?
And then, but Joker hijacks the TV, kidnaps a bunch of people, and chaos ensues. But there was a few of those like holiday episodes on Batman. But the very first one that stuck out to me, and then the last one they did when they did the style change when they moved over to another network, like the WB. If I remember, the first episode of that season was actually Batman's kind of routine through the holidays. Like Christmas Eve starts with Batgirl fighting Clayface. Second part has Bruce Wayne being taken over by Poison Ivy, as Poison Ivy and Harley try to max out his credit cards on a shopping spree. And then New Year's Eve, the Joker threatening to poison and kill everyone in Gotham, because and it ends with just Batman and Commissioner Gordon about 3 a.m. New Year's at a coffee shop, getting a cup of coffee, hoping to survive to do this again next year. And Commissioner never beats Batman to the check.
Well, I mean, it's Bruce Wayne. He can afford to pay the check.
Oh, yeah.
So the other Christmas ones I remember there was a series called Jingle Bell, which was it was sort of a cheesecake girl who was a superhero, and I think it was one of the guys from Batman the animated series that created it.
Was it Bruce Timm or?
I want to say Paul Dini. It seems
I think it was Paul Dini.
Yeah, I don't know.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. I think my wife actually has that one. I think she was actually picking up. I think she actually picked up Jingle Bell. Heaven knows where it is now. For all we know, we we lost it in our flood 5 years ago and just haven't come across it yet. But I do remember, like, I haven't read it, but I'm pretty sure that my wife has that one because, again, on the name of Paul Dini.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay,
why
no,
I picked them up. And there was a few good artists that actually did some work on them too. Like I remember, and it's mostly, I think a lot of the artists that did work on that, because there's actually like 5 issues of it from what I remember. I actually had a small, I either had a collection, like a made collection, or
yeah,
I've
it
had a few
sounds
issues.
familiar. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of artists liked it because it was sort of cheesecake, girls in tight outfits drawings, and it was sort of retro-y, had a retro-y feel to it. So a lot of great artists. I had the issues. I can't tell you what the stories were necessarily because the reason I thought them was the art, because there was some amazing artists on that had worked on it, besides Paul Dini and everything like that.
Now you got me thinking. Now I'm going to Google it up after this.
Yeah, maybe not in front of your kids.
No. But wasn't Jingle Bells? Wasn't that from DC?
No,
it might have been like a sub DC. It might have been like when they had sort of some of their independent stuff.
Oh,
and not DC proper.
Okay,
I could be wrong though.
Or if I had to guess, if it wasn't DC, I want to say it might be something from Oni Press. If I was a gambling person.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Caliber or Oni would be
okay.
One of those would be the thing, because it is sort of adult-ish. It's not like there's no nudity or gratuitous sex, but there's definitely like a sexy sort of lean to it.
And cheap, kind of.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of like other publishers, has Image ever done a Christmas thing?
See, I don't.
Savage Dragon would be the one I think would fit,
but
I don't know if that's
the case.
Say.
Savage Dragon or even Spawn.
Maybe Spawn. Yeah. I think I remember Spawn did have one that stuck out. I want to say Dragon probably has some kind of Christmas issue every year because that book does take place in real time. So in some form or another, I'm just trying to a lot of them seem to be just him in the hospital in a body cast healing from something while the rest of the world kind of does their holiday thing. Because when you have a book that goes on in real time, you know how it is. You get like a 3, 4, 5, 6 issue arc where it's continuous action. You got to make up time somewhere. So you get that Christmas issue where, where a month goes by. So but yeah. Now I'm going to have to, and I feel bad because I have been like reorganizing my comic collection and been buying the Dragon Ultimate hardcover collection so I can keep on my bookshelf. I should probably after this break them out and see how many Christmas specials are in the first 3 volumes I got.
Why don't you do this? Take up pictures if you get a chance, and we'll post them with this video.
All right, sounds good.
So if there are, here's the pictures.
Yes. And here's a question. I don't recall Marvel doing any super Christmas, special Christmas issues.
Spider-Man.
No. Yeah, but no. I mean, a
like a special one-shot.
Christmas. Yeah, DC used to do it every year. Now, Spider-Man. One I sent Chris the image, and again, look at the image here. The Spider one. I remember buying that one. It's Santa Claus with a gun in his hand. Yeah. If I remember that story, it's a bunch of people dressed as Santa trying to rob people.
Actually, hold on. There is because I just picked up this book very recently, and I did find the original comic I had, the Daredevil Born Again, the very first Daredevil.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. That
there's a scene with the Santa Claus.
They're Santa Claus pulling a switch. That's the cover. Santa Claus pulling a switchblade on Matt Murdock.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
My very first Daredevil comic. I finally dug that up. So soon I'll have to put that on the table and compare the gallery edition book that I bought versus the issue that 7-year-old me got and is thoroughly beaten up. I did not take care of my comics.
That's good. That's a good sign. That means you enjoyed them.
Now, the coffee mug you're drinking, Superman. I remember when I used to read Superman, they used to do almost every company did a special Christmas issue. And I remember Superman used to do a lot of Christmas special issues.
Yeah.
That I do remember. And oh geez, now that we've got the ball rolling, I think there was one I came across in 2000. Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness started taking over the title that year, and it was kind of a revival of the Superman line after the 90s of being the Death and Return and the Electric, and like it was a sort of return to, maybe some smaller stories. The titles don't have to be intermixed. We don't have to do crossover year after year after year. So they were a little more, one issue was a good full story, or maybe there'd be like a two-part. If you kind of read the body overall, you might get an overarching theme, but nothing to stop you from kind of picking up an issue in the middle. But the Christmas issue stuck out because it was Jeff Loeb, and each artist did 2-3 page story, and it was there was Joe Madureira that did a couple pages. Humberto Ramos did a few pages.
Oh, nice.
Ian Churchill, even Rob Liefeld, like just all of Jeff Loeb's friends. And each of those 3 pages, it was Superman just giving Christmas presents to the Justice League.
Interesting.
And griping about the concept of Lex Luthor now being president of the U.S. And getting everyone's kind of viewpoint. And just little it was an interesting one. I definitely liked the idea of all the different art styles, and they were all artists at that point that hadn't really been associated with a lot of DC work, and definitely wouldn't have been associated with Superman. Like in the 90s, you probably wouldn't have seen Joe Madureira do like a Superman.
Yeah, because those were all the Image guys that rolled over.
Yeah. Actually, that would have been about the time that DC buys Wildstorm and brings in like Jim Lee's stable of artists over to kind of, I don't know how much of a shakeup it did, but I remember DC having like a particular stable, like I guess like solid storytellers, some good artists, but maybe. But
I do remember the Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness run on Superman. They were on there for a few years.
Yeah, I think they just started collecting that into hardcover, and I'm like, that might be like a collection I want to check out, because I think it, not too far after, kind of goes back to the more conventional like DC writer artist. But I remember
I don't remember seeing the Christmas special, that one.
No, like it wasn't, like it was actually an issue that was in the regular run.
No. I mean, even in the regular run, I don't recall ever seeing that issue.
You guys have to exchange some comic books.
Yes, no, I have to look it up also. Now, here's one thing I've noticed. Superman and Spider-Man always did Christmas-themed issues, throughout the year. I don't remember any, like, random Batman, except for what you mentioned about the animated series. I don't remember Batman, Wonder Woman, Hulk, or anyone else, having a Christmas.
I feel like I remember there being a Punisher Christmas special at one point.
Punisher?
As well. Yeah, I feel like there was a Punisher Christmas special at one point. Which makes sense because, again, it's sort of like the Lobo paramilitary Christmas special, where there's juxtaposition of super good and super sort of more sort of chaotic good. So, I seem to remember. I'm not a big fan of Punisher, so I probably saw it and went, and then.
It's the Punisher, yeah. Because that could be like funny or sad depending on which way you go.
Yes, yes.
I don't. That being said, if John Romita Jr. drew it, I'd probably be picking it up, though.
I seem to remember there being a G.I. Joe Christmas issue or two out there too.
Oh, most likely. Actually,
I remember in the cartoons. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, there was a. That's okay. I remember one of the Christmas cartoons, and it was I was probably about 7 when this came out, and there was this like subplot where one of the characters just clinically depressed over the holidays. I'm like, that's something sneaky to put in a kid's weekday afternoon toy commercial.
Yeah.
And it's something 7-year-old me didn't think of at the time, but watching the videos again as an adult, it's like, oh, they actually tried to put in a serious thing in
Oh,
here.
really?
Just one of the guys just
Yeah.
gets depressed around the holidays.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, but that's a great
cool.
great subject matter to bring up for that. During that time of year, people do get depressed.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, for a lot of years, it's actually how my wife and I met. I worked retail at a Toys R Us in my 20s, and oh my goodness, the amount of Christmases the both of us put in for a while. It's like, great Christmas.
I can imagine.
Christmas, yes. So
Oh,
sorry, go for it.
I was just going to say, do we want to talk about, the possibility of we each have our own characters? Would we ever do a Christmas or holiday special, and how would we handle it?
That's interesting because we've done horror theme, we've done gorilla theme, we've done, various other things, but we've never tackled Christmas.
Yeah. And would Christmas be the best one for TikTok, Tom? Maybe like an Easter special or something like that, or something. Halloween would make total sense.
No, but we've done a horror special, remember, for Halloween?
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm thinking like Halloween, like trick-or-treaters and things like that, like even less horror and more just sort of actually towards the holidays.
No, but Christmas theme would be good because then you have to do, kind of like, well, in a way, like Lobo Paramilitary Christmas special where you do have violence, but you have to have the, Christmas spirit in there also.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe Santa doesn't get mugged.
Yeah. It'd be a challenging theme.
I think so. I think it'd be interesting. You could probably do like a zine size thing that would do really well.
Now, here's say for TikTok Tom, the characters would fit in to do that or any other Christmas theme. With yours, it's an Asian-based character, and even in Asian countries, they do celebrate Christmas, even though, like example, India, where half the most of the population is not non-Christian, but some of them still do like my family. Well, we don't do the traditional Christmas celebration, but we do, put up lights and tree and stuff like it because everyone wants to be festive.
Exactly. The malls, every place I've ever lived, the malls are filled with Christmas trees. Like you go to Thailand and there's some of the most impressive Christmas trees you'll ever see. So
it's the joy and fun of it.
It's funny. It's the side that a lot of Westerners tend to. So it's too commercial, but for them, it's like we just do the commercial part.
That's it, and you know what? And this is a subject. I'm just going to mention once, and we won't go into it. Forget about the religious part of it. Just enjoy the holiday.
Yeah, and so I think you could probably do a Blue Orchid Christmas special for that reason. You could easily write. And the cool thing would be I'd want to design some kind of Christmas monster that she'd have to fight, and I'd have to figure out how. Maybe the Christmas lights that get all twined together, all up and get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Here's a key question in this. Key question in this: would Molitor be Santa?
Almost. He'd be some kind of Santa.
A mall Santa.
Yes.
Yeah, like give bad Santa a run for his money.
Yeah.
Maybe something's going down at the mall and he has to go undercover, so he decides to be a mall Santa.
Santa
maybe.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Well, it was still cool, yeah.
Okay, so here's the story. Here's the story. He's at the mall. He's doing something. It goes wrong. Then the real Santa shows up, helps him, and then Malter's like, "Why would you help me?" And then Santa pulls off his hat, a mullet. So it'd be perfect. Just as he pulls off, it's like we're brothers. Like we both have the mullets.
That's a great idea. So now mentioning Santa, I'm a huge Grant Morrison fan, but I have not read his Santa Claus comic book. Have you guys?
Oh,
No, I
No.
haven't read it.
Okay, never read it. I have every Grant Morrison book except for that one. For some reason, I don't know why. And I've been told it's a great story.
I'm trying to think of any other artists that have created some. Or why don't we try this? Is there any artist that you know that hasn't created a Christmas comic that maybe would be really interesting? I'm thinking, or like writer-wise, it would be interesting to see. I mean, Neil Gaiman would be interesting.
I'm sure Neil Gaiman probably did some Christmas stuff in Sandman, Christmas type of theme.
Maybe.
Alan Moore, I'm wondering if he did anything in Swamp Thing with Christmas.
Yeah, I would imagine with particularly with the theme of a Christmas tree and Swamp Thing.
Yeah. I haven't. It's been years since I've read his run on Swamp Thing, so I don't remember any Christmas themed issue there.
Yeah. Well, part of the problem is wherever there's swamps, generally, like in the South, there isn't as much cold snow, so you can't really do it as well. Like a frozen swamp, would he freeze to death? Would that would he freeze solid because he's mostly
permafrost and everything? Yeah.
But I'd like to see, as far as artists go, I'd love to see Sam Keith do and Sergio. Sergio and Sam Keith are the two artists.
Sergio, I do remember. Artists. I think he's done Christmas stuff for Mad Magazine, right?
Oh yeah, I imagine that. Like even if anything, even just the border cartoons, I'm sure have Christmas themes to them. But it'd be interesting to see him do something like a little bit more like a Gru Christmas comic book would be amazing.
That's yeah.
I would.
One name I was going to bring up, but I'm sure he's done covers for it. Bill Sienkiewicz probably has done Christmas covers. I'm sure somewhere.
I imagine.
Yeah. I would imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be interesting to do an X-Men Christmas thing, just because you're dealing with kids that are away from their families during the holidays. You could really sort of.
That's an interesting question because I'm sure Chris Claremont probably has done something. No, I do remember one or two cover with Kitty Pryde. Yeah.
Yes.
One with Kitty Pryde. Yes.
It was the on-running joke. Apparently, 1 year, because I believe Kitty Pryde is actually Jewish, so I think she hangs out at the mansion and ends up going toe-to-toe with some weird alien creature. And the on-running joke is Professor X vaguely remembers like a psychic presence around the house around the holidays, but has never actually seen it. So far, I think Kitty Pryde is the only one that's actually dealt with this thing.
I remember that issue. I do remember that issue. Is that the one with her pointing at saying Professor X is a jerk or something? Because I remember she has a scarf on and a winter coat and all that stuff on.
Oh, I'm not sure if those two are connected, but that is a standout panel. Like I remember, like, is that Paul Smith or Romita Jr.?
Paul Smith. No, Paul Smith. Paul Smith. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that I always find off about some Christmas things is when they don't lead up. Like I think Savage Dragon does it a little better because it's in real time. But a lot of comic books will be like suddenly it's Christmas, suddenly there's snow. The mansion's in upstate New York, and it's the first day of snow, and it's like we live. Canada is near upstate New York. It started in October.
Yeah. I think it's one of those comic rule things. Like every year, there's December has some kind of holiday themed, even though a full calendar year doesn't go through in the comics. It's like June to December's only been a week.
Do you think those type of issues are fill-in issues that the editor might go, you know what, we're just going to pop it in here, holiday season's coming up, or is it planned issue? Because I know they have backup, fill-in issues, put aside just for last minute, saying, okay, it's October, we'll throw in the Christmas issue right there.
Maybe. I know they don't do that as much anymore because apparently these days all comics are kind of pre-bundled into like 6-8 part, like something that could fit a
you're right. Yeah.
But like the comics we had as a kid, I'm pretty sure that they're like there'd be like a Christmas theme and it would be a fill-in So actually, I do remember I was big into the Hulk run Peter David did with Dale Keown in the like 1990, 91, 92 era.
Yeah.
And there was a stretch I was actually reading. Didn't have access to a comic store, but the corner store started carrying the Hulk comics more consistently. So in the middle of the story where they actually successfully merged Bruce Banner and the gray and green Hulk to make his like Professor Hulk form that we now see in the Marvel movies. But like I have the issue where he gets amalgamated into the Ultimate Hulk, and then the next issue was a Christmas fill-in with the Gray Hulk and Rhino. And I just remember like,
Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's like, and it was like I just recently got the Peter David omnibus that actually covers the Dale Keown run that covers all that, but it was just kind of a weird thing to right in the middle of the arc to put the fill-in issue.
And I think that's what they did, because it was just a fill-in issue we probably had done, a year earlier or 6 months earlier, and thinking, you know what, this will be our backup story in case, we need something in there to let the artist catch up.
Oh, exactly.
It has to be very specific timing, because like you can't do a Christmas fill-in issue and put it out in September or July or something like that.
No, but they'll have it ready just in case, I remember in the old days, they used to have a couple of fill-in issues that they could put in there in case if we're behind on deadlines. So, maybe that, Christmas is time where, we're probably, thinking a lot of artists and writers are not going to have much time to do anything. So, if they're going to be doing, depending on where they live, if they're traveling to see families and stuff, that could be a couple of days or a week or so that he or she's not going to be doing any creative work.
Yeah.
So that way it's like, you know what, put this in there, you have the month off.
Right. Or you can, or, you're not, you can do just a little less work, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if comic sales go up on the holidays. Like, I wonder if Christmas issues actually boost the comic book or not.
I wonder.
That might be a Brian question.
Yeah, that would be a Brian question. I mean, I think maybe kids get comics for Christmas, or at least used to get comics for Christmas. I did occasionally, so maybe that might increase sales. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I see. Again, what you guys said earlier was we need Brian, who's the owner of Worlds Collide in Oshawa. He'd be a perfect person to ask about this. Only thing I could think of is, us three being comic geeks and stuff, and if we went to a comic shop and said, hey, I want to buy these gifts for kids, for my nephews, nieces, or friends, or whatever, you'd buy it. But would a random person walk into a comic store and say, I want to buy comics for my kids, unless they went to a bookstore?
Yeah. That, or unless their kids are obviously into comic books. Like, I'm feeling like my parents occasionally got me comic books, but I think they knew that I was into comic books. So it was sort of it was on my Christmas list. So, but
in our generation, our when we were growing up, comics are available in retail stores everywhere.
Yeah,
at that time. So unlike now, where unless you go to like a big name bookstore, you might see a graphic novel here and there. But when you walk into a convenience store or grocery store, you don't see comics like that anymore. Where no. general parent who a kid is watching G.I. Joe or into Transformers, let's say, they're not going to see a G.I. Joe comic anywhere.
Yeah.
No, sidestep. This was actually something pointed out to me in a podcast. Even comic shops these days, most comic shops, certain books, they'll only order enough for pull lists, maybe have one or two on the shelves.
That's another issue, yes.
But yeah, whole other thing. But and the G.I. Joe comics were, when they were under IDW, was a prime example. But I don't know. I'm trying to think, because we did have convenience stores and whatnot that we could like randomly get comic books from. But as a kid, I don't remember like going to the bookstore, like going to a legitimate bookstore with my parents and being able to find like any graphic novel stuff. Whereas you go into
Yes.
Indigo these days, they have they have an entire section for manga, but they still also have an entire like section or two for graphic novels.
Yeah.
So like there's a better chance of
Yeah.
them putting out like especially if they do their marketing right. We were talking about this last episode, like when a new Marvel or DC movie comes out, having the appropriate book. So, say in time for the holiday season, Infinity War comes out. The comics like, oh, maybe get the Infinity War or Gauntlet trade paperback or omnibus too. But I don't remember that. Like like for more elaborate comic stuff outside of the convenience store, I remember that one was specific to comic shops.
Yeah.
Like we like in this day and age, we did lose the convenience store for monthly comics, but we did gain bookstores carrying graphic novels and trades and
But
even
but again,
hardcovers. It's
let's say you and I are parents. If we weren't geeks, to be honest, would we even go looking for that stuff? Probably not.
no,
Unless for me, let's say I'm going shopping. Unless I see it at Costco, when Costco used to have the whole section of books and stuff like that. If I look over, I saw Star Wars stuff. I saw My Little Pony and things like that. But I've never seen only time I've seen Spider-Man or Marvel stuff was some of the coloring books they had.
Yeah.
yeah. No, that is a good point. You don't see, and you would think that they would actually try to put out like a very Spidey Christmas graphic novel.
Not even a graphic novel, but during Christmas time, package up a couple of graphic novels in a pack. For example, on my bookshelf somewhere here, I have like Road Dolls collection. I have a Hardy Boys collection. Things like that. So why not do a collection of Marvel comics? Put them in Christmas case or Christmas slip case or something, and sell them at Costco.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to do new stories. You could just do the classics.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, just do best of or something, or take one best of Captain America, Iron Man, and Hulk. Put them together, sell them as a Christmas box set.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be downright logical.
Yes. No, but you see, anyone who's gone to, I'm giving Costco as an example. When you go to Costco during the holidays, you see all those box sets of books. Even Harry Potter, you see the massive, $150 box set of Harry Potter books. And they do sell because I see people buying them.
Yeah.
So who's to say graphic novels would not sell there?
Yeah, you'd probably have to have a few less graphic novels because printing full color graphic novels is a little more expensive than a book full of text, right? So you might not be able to get like an entire line, but maybe you're right, like 2 or 3 trades bundled up at a discount price.
Yep.
For like you said, if there's a movie coming out, for example, bundle, Captain America, I'm giving a few years back an example.
Fantastic Four would be a good one.
Fantastic Four. I was going to say Winter Soldier. Bundle up all the Winter Soldier stories into a collection, into a box set, and say, here you go. Fantastic Four is another one. Take, Jack Kirby story, John Byrne story. Take about 2-3 graphic novels, put them together, and bundle it up as a gift set.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, DC seems to have I'm noticing like an uptake on Superman stuff. They just, we got a Superman movie, and it seems that there's just a lot more Superman available on the shelf or on Amazon.
Yeah, I think the Superman movie did better. So.
No, but here's the thing. It's not even, and this is where it's, again, going back to your comment about thinking logical, is you see everything except comics. You see coloring books, you see merchandising, you see toys, you see, notepads, everything. You don't see graphic novels or comics advertised.
Yeah.
You know, you see everything with Superman on it, except for the comic books.
Oh yeah, actually, I do remember because I was a huge Transformers nerd as a kid. Um, Transformers toys were still being made even after the cartoon ended, but it was always I'll find these adventures in Marvel Comics.
Yeah. You know what? I think we need to wrap this up, and I'm going to wrap it up with one of the most idiotic illustrated book things that I saw during the holidays. And it was when Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas came out. I was at a bookstore, and they had an illustrated version of the Jim Carrey movie, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Dumbest book ever written. So I think we can end on that.
Wow, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Remarkably stupid.
Now, before we even go on, was it illustrated in Dr. Seuss style, or was it just...
No, it was more of like a coloring book style, simple drawing. So it wasn't even drawn as well as the Dr. Seuss one, but it was literally just this, like, it was so, I was sitting there, I was like, why would you do this?
Oh, wow.
So,
no.
Let's end it on this, because otherwise we're going to be cringing and, shaking our heads even more.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, and everyone have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.
All right, see ya later, guys.